Well, I don't know about you, but I have spent the day angry crying, helpless crying, all kinds of crying. It's not been pretty today. Notre Dame, as I'm sure you know by now, was engulfed in horrible flames. It was apparently a work accident. They've been renovating the exterior of the cathedral for a while now, and something just hit it just right, and poof, uh, 800 years of history lost in a few hours. It really is devastating. My heart goes out to Paris. My heart goes out to Catholics. Um, it it's really heartbreaking to see what happened today. No matter what the cause, we saw a piece of Western civilization, if not die, at least be severely crippled. I have had some hope with a lot of these things. They finally were able to put out the flames, but I was watching as the spire fell into the interior of the cathedral, and I was like, oh my gosh, so that's going to be it, right? But apparently they were able to finally put a stop to it. The structure is still standing. They did not lose the two towers. They were worried about that for a while, but the towers are still standing. The main bulk of the structure is still there. All the woodwork is gone. I believe they lost one of the rose windows. I'm waiting to hear a little more confirmation on that because I love those rose windows, and I'm not sure which one of them is gone. But I did hear that one of the three main rose windows was lost, but most of the stained glass remains. Um, the relics and the artwork were all saved, and in the long run, I don't believe anyone was killed. I think one of the firefighters was hurt and had to go to the hospital, but we did this with very few casualties. The way that Paris also rallied behind it too. I don't know if you've seen. There's these beautiful videos of heartbreaking videos, absolutely, but they have a beauty to them as well of Parisians facing Notre Dame and singing, and it was really powerful, and I feel like it drew people together. But this is something that is an icon for all of Western civilization, and it's one of the most famous cathedrals in the world. People come from all over the world. They make pilgrimages to Notre Dame in Paris, and this is so devastating for anyone who loves cathedrals, anyone who loves culture, and certainly anyone who worships the Christian God. So I think we're all feeling that today. Um, so I did want to just kind of mention that, talk about the way I was feeling today. As I said, I've just been sobbing my heart out all day. I think I'm dried out at this point. It was really hard. I keep going back to my first experience with Notre Dame. I have been able to go once. I got a few pictures of that particular cathedral, and it was a beautiful experience. I was in Paris for a completely different reason, and a few of us decided let's go to morning mass. And the interesting thing about that was they don't actually, on Sunday mornings especially, they don't open up for tourism until after the mass has ended. And we got there early, and we're still able to wander around uh, the interior of the building. I was still allowed to take pictures, but we had this whole cathedral to ourselves, and it was quiet, and it was peaceful, and it was spiritual. It was just absolutely amazing. And then we experienced this incredible mass, and I'm not even Catholic, and I thought this is just incredible what we're doing here, and it was a deeply spiritual experience, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. Um, and then to have that kind of juxtaposed against this vision I now have in my head of those flames. I mean, I was watching the bead and was just, I mean, there's no other word for it. I was devastated. It depressed me all day. I'm just like, how could this happen? I mean, here's this wonderful experience I had with Notre Dame in Paris, and then to have it now almost overshadowed by this horrible experience, and I suspect a lot of people really feel like that. But again, this is one of the reasons that I do what I do. It's people are going to rebuild Notre Dame, I'm sure. In fact, one of the things I do want to mention here, I'm actually going to be doing a fundraiser myself. I'm going to have a limited edition or a special edition. It's not necessarily going to be limited, but it will be a special edition print, where half the proceeds of that print go to helping to rebuild Notre Dame Cathedral, because I believe the plan is to rebuild it, to renovate it, to make sure that we have this this iconic structure back on the map. And I really, really hope that happens. I've heard some really neat stories about, there was a billionaire, I believe, who donated 100 million euros to the rebuilding of the project. But this is such a, again, it's such a world icon as well, and I hope that people will rally together to do that. So I'm doing my part. I'm doing a fundraiser through my 1,000 Holy Places, by releasing a special edition print. You can find that on my Patreon and also on my Facebook page, and I'm going to make sure that I put links down below. So make sure you check that out. Half of the proceeds of that particular print will be going to the rebuilding of Notre Dame Cathedral. That's what it's going to be intended for. That is what this project is about to begin with. It is about the preservation of these places. And so I hope that we can band together as human beings and put our whole selves back into rebuilding what we lost, and regaining what we lost today, because we can do that, but we need to do this together. So I hope people will contribute to that, and we'll see where this goes from here. But my heart is with Paris today, and my heart is certainly with everyone who was affected by this. Please contribute to the rebuilding of Notre Dame. We really appreciate all of that, and prayers for all today. Bye bye.